Namaste everyone. Har Har Mahadev. Now today we'll be discussing about the transit of Saturn in the nakshatra of Revati that happened on 17th of May 2026. So Saturn has now moved into the nakshatra of Revati, although it will be coming back to the Uttar Bhadrapada, and then the comeback in the Revati nakshatra would also be there. But let's understand, what does Saturn in the nakshatra of Revati means, so that we can know what we can expect into this transit. All right. So before that, if you guys are new to my channel, please subscribe and hit the bell icon. And for your personal readings, the link is below in the description box, www.anmolastrology.com. Under reading and unique reading section, you can book a personal reading for yourself. And if you want to sign up for learning from me, you can sign up for the courses under the courses section at the same link. All right. So let's get started with Saturn and Revati. But before understanding Saturn and Revati, let's first understand the Revati nakshatra a little with the perspective of transit. So I think it's really important right now to understand what this nakshatra means, because once you do, you actually will get answers to so many questions within your head, within your mind, and regarding what is happening in your life. So Revati is the very last nakshatra, right? The last nakshatra has a lot of power and ability, and it is one of the most karmic nakshatras. Ashwini and Revati both are the most karmic nakshatras. Why do I say that, and what sort of karmicness I am referring to? Ashwini is the very first nakshatra, in which the soul has just entered into this universe, and the soul has the whole power, the whole energy to execute things. Similarly, Revati is the last nakshatra where now the soul is either going to flow and move away from this life cycle, or it is going to come back into the life cycle. So there's a decision that the soul has to make. But in both the cases, you're required to do most amount of things. Most amount of events are supposed to happen. Most amount of things are going to work out for you, or are going to create a problem for you. But absolutely, you will be occupied. These two nakshatras are not the nakshatras where things do not happen. Rather, these two are the nakshatras where things would definitely happen. Like, for example, if a person has been jobless since a very long time, now since these nakshatras are going to be activated, like firstly Revati, not Ashwini, Revati is going to be activated, you will get that job. You will get back into the loop of life. That's what is the karma about of coming into this life, and also from going from this life. So that's why Revati becomes a very important nakshatra. Any planet transiting this particular nakshatra is going to give its results with a strong sense of karmicness. Now it's Saturn that is coming into Revati, right? So Saturn simply wants you to suffer the situation of that particular zodiac sign and of that particular nakshatra. And it wants you to come into structure, into discipline. So Revati, it's the 12th house. It's the last nakshatra. It's into the last zodiac sign. Revati is very sensitive. It is the protector. It's the nurturer. It's the one who guides. It's the one who find the lost things. Saturn coming into this nakshatra, you are going to find yourself. Suppose wherever your zodiac sign of Pisces is falling, you have been receiving your sufferings from that particular area. If it's seventh house, it's your business, it's your partnership, it's your marriage, it's your partner also. If it's fourth house, you're emotionally suffering, you're transitioning, right? So basically, the suffering that you have been having from the transit of Saturn, now it has to complete. Now it has to come to that point where you now decide whether you want to get out and escape out of this situation, or you're going to come back again and restart the cycle. So it's like the rejuvenation, the recycling of your emotions and your perspective, your beliefs, and even your karma is going to happen with this Saturn's transit in Revati, in whichever house your zodiac sign of Pisces is. And this turns out to be a very, very important transit, because you will now not over give and over trust the living significance of wherever your Pisces is falling, or regarding anything about that house. You're going to set your boundaries. You're going to completely set your boundaries and bring in a structure that where you want your energy to flow. Because Revati is the flow of the ocean. Revati is where your energy is flowing, whether out of this circle or within back into the circle. Right? Then Revati is the nakshatra where Shukra gets exalted and Budh gets debilitated. Right? Although it's the nakshatra of Mercury itself. So Venus gets exalted here. That means this is the highest of the faith. This is the realm, this is the nakshatra where, or this is the domain of Pisces where your devotion becomes powerful, where your faith becomes your dedication towards your spirituality or your relationships. That's the reason Venus is exalted here. But now we have Saturn into this nakshatra. So Saturn will say that is your faith all right? Is your faith worthy? If you're trusting into a religious organization, trust me on this, with Saturn coming into Revati, many of the fraudulent religious spiritual organizations are going to come to an end. Because Saturn here will make you doubt. It will make you see the reality of your own faith, of your own devotion. It will make you show yourself the reality of protection also. With Venus, with a domain or with a nakshatra or a zodiac sign where Venus is getting exalted, Saturn is saying that is it correct? Is your love for this particular person or this particular thing is what you deserve? So if you have been suffering, this is the end of your suffering. This is the restart of your cycle. So definitely we are going to go through transitions. We are going to go through resets. We are going to go through rejuvenation, recycling of emotions. Because it's the 12th house, it's the moksha house, it's the water sign, it's your sensitivity. Saturn doesn't bring anything easy, especially in the water signs. That's why its nakshatras fall into the water zodiac signs, because that's how you receive the karma. In the water zodiac signs, Saturn basically removes all the toxins from your body, in like not physically, but hypothetically it removes all the toxin. It heals you from the inside, it stabilizes you from the inside, but it makes you deal with the deepest emotions, deepest hurt, any feeling, deepest of it. It wants you to experience so that you find the power within yourself. Now, Saturn being in Revati, you're going to find your power with isolation. You will learn how you have to leave the places where you are not required. You have to leave the places which have been hurting you and you are still there giving your energy. Whether it's a job, whether it's a profession, whether it's a relationship, whether it's towards your own family or it's towards your in-laws, whether it's towards your kids. So Revati is the nakshatra that governs the energy flow, that governs where the journey or where the travel is happening. So Saturn here makes you question that whether your journey is towards your goal or it is just being a waste. So that's the question you'll be asking yourself in regards to the area wherever Saturn is transiting currently, whenever it will be in the nakshatra of Revati. Because it will make you go through circumstances and go through situations in your surroundings that you will start questioning it and you will start putting boundaries because you have suffered already. Like, for example, you have tried to protect someone. You had tried to protect a relationship over and over again and trying to tell them this is not correct, this is not correct. But they took you for granted. Now you will be like that it's okay. It's not my battle to fight. You're understanding that wisdom, not just that wisdom is coming from like just situation happened and your wisdom came in. No, you have gone through the suffering from the inside and you are now deciding for yourself for those two things that Pisces represents. One is escapism, one is addiction or devotion, whatever you call it. So now you shall decide where your energy is not required, and now you need to leave that space to protect yourself. Your protection is for yourself now. And another, the devotion, where actually your devotion must be, where your devotion is required. Also, the zodiac sign of Pisces and Revati represents the responsibilities that you have towards this world, towards whatever house that is, wherever this Pisces falls for you. It's your time to show up where your responsibilities are required, but at the same time, protect your own energy. the overflowing of your emotions, of your helpfulness, of your nature now has to stop, because Saturn is going to make you mark the full stop. Because till the time it doesn't stop, anything new would not have the potential to start. So for the first phase, when we shall do the comeback video, of course, but just understand, for the first phase, when Saturn enters into the Revati, it's your acknowledgement towards your delusions, towards your illusions. Because Saturn, when comes into this nakshatra, into this zodiac sign, it gives the pressure to suppress the delusion, the illusion, and make you understand and see the reality. So it is just the trailer, it's just the start. Till the time Saturn goes retrograde and moves back into Uttara Bhadrapada. Then, when it will finally come into the Revati, again, it's more about closures. It's more about restarting, rejuvenation. So Revati has also a very strong karma with traveling, because Revati is the deity of Revati is Pushan, the protector of the flocks, the protector of the animals, the protector, or not the person, the entity, the deity which makes the soul travel either into the astral world subconsciously, or into the conscious world, into another cycle. But Pushan would guide you. Now your guidance comes through suffering because of Saturn. Now it's important that you learn the direction you need to go to. So Saturn is actually a brilliant planet to be in Revati. Because then you're not into that illusion. It blocks your imagination, but it gives you the utmost wisdom. Another thing we can see on the mundane level, that journeys, long distance journeys, especially foreign travels or any sort of travels, can be delayed. There can be something to be worked upon first before it commences, because we know that Saturn is going to go retrograde. It will go into Uttara Bhadrapada. You will have to deal with certain karma, certain obligations, and then you would come back again for a smooth travel. So first of all, there can be restrictions upon travel. There can be economic conditions which are going to get affected. And I think this is very much visible after what PM Modi has announced for all of us to restrict our travels, to restrict our spendings upon, upon gold and even the investments, right? So I think that's totally about Saturn and Revati, how the restriction must happen for new things to flourish, for new journeys to start. All right. And I think the strongest thing, this is on the mundane level, about the travel restrictions, about that is even applicable mundanely, that even political parties will have to make certain, rules, certain things which are going to start something new, which are going to start towards a new projects, new associations. And also Saturn coming into the nakshatra, which is ruled by Pushan, the deity of, the protector of the flocks, there will be protection of animals. We will have to protect animals. We will have to protect the ones who are upon a journey. And it's also about protecting yourself through your transition, through your spiritual journey. And definitely the ones who have been creating, fraudulent images, as by the name of spirituality, by the name of religion, all of that is going to come into light, and people will start understanding that how superstition is the biggest disease. The real spirituality is not this. When you become superstitious of something, the real spirituality is to have the highest wisdom, is to understand what this life is about, what your karma is about. So with Saturn in this nakshatra, you would not just understand what you need to do now, but you would understand what should not be done now, where you need to stop. How do you want to channelize your flow? How you want to channelize your path towards your goal? So that's what Shani in Revati represents. Now, along with this, while Saturn will be in Revati, we will also be having Jupiter into another water sign and trine to Saturn. We will also be having Ketu very soon in the zodiac sign of Cancer also. Currently, it's in Magha, its own nakshatra. So there are so many spiritual transitions, so many lessons and, understanding that we need to have, and we are definitely going to have, but through the hard way. It is also going to restrict our communications, because this Saturn is in the nakshatra of Mercury. Mercury is our expression, it's our communication, it's about our understanding. So not the soft way, but the hard way, we are going to learn this, that it's important for us to keep our feelings, our intuitiveness towards ourselves. So many of us, wherever this particular zodiac sign is falling, we would understand that now we need to set the boundary regarding our communication about that area also, or with that area also. On a whole, this is a most mature transit that we are going to have. Till now, it was about lessons, suffering, transitions. But now it's the actual. First, it was the starting of it. Now it's actually where it takes place. Because after Revati, there is another zodiac sign, the very first zodiac sign, very first nakshatra, Ashwini. So from Revati, you are going to move to Ashwini. Now, towards the final degrees of Revati, which we shall have next year, not this year, towards the final degrees, it will also go through the Gantanta point, where the transformation would become into 100. So that's when a soul will burn to transform. You see in the movies how, shapeshifters are there, how when shapeshifters turn from one person to another. I was recently watching the series From, and if you have seen the latest season, you will see how the demon or the monsters in the series, that monster transitioned from a male monster to a female person just so that he can enter into the town. So that's the churning, and all the bones were crushing, and it formed, another body, another role, another person. So that's what we are going to experience when Saturn would actually come to the very last degrees of Revati, when that churning will happen, when that Gantanta point will be faced by Shani, that karmic knot. Because moving through a plain road, your speed wouldn't get affected. But when there's a speed breaker, like the karmic knot of Gantanta, you will have to slow down, you will have to jump it, and then restart your movement, restart your speed again. So that is what is going to be experienced with Saturn towards the very end. Also, Saturn would make us restrict our expenditure and restrict certain responsibilities also where they are not required. So, for example, an individual who has been fulfilling all the responsibilities towards his parents and still getting all that scolding, still getting all that negative judgments, negative criticism from his or her parents. And even if parents are doing this towards with the child, and child is not appreciating it, now we people would be like, enough is enough. Now I have to control, I have to, give myself the power that I'm not just giving like the sign of Pisces is. I need to restrict my giving nature. Even that would happen with the money, the expenditure, and that would happen emotionally also, with emotions. There are places you will exit emotionally, and there are places where you'll find yourself, you will try to find yourself, and you will try to plan to restart. This is the nakshatra, since it's the last nakshatra, but it comes before the very first nakshatra of Ashwini, the nakshatra ruled by Ketu. This nakshatra is where the planning for the new things are going to happen. And once Ashwini happens, then it's establishing the new things, entering into it. But here, the planning is going to happen. Because once you are done with the karma, but once you have understood, once you have set the boundaries, you will have the clarity. Because this zodiac sign is of chaos. So you entered Pisces, you entered confusion and chaos. By the time you leave Pisces, you will get the clarity, because Pisces is also about clarity. It's subconscious clarity. That's why this is the spiritual sign. How are you going to become the spiritualist? Once you clear your path, you clear all the worldly confusions and chaos into your mind. How spiritual people are able to connect with the astral world, with the higher energies, with a clear and sorted mind. That's what we are going to have with Saturn in Revati. All right. Now let's talk about the Muhurat chart first of Saturn entering into Revati. And for the reason why I am mentioning the Muhurat chart, because Saturn is going to enter Revati now on 17th of May, then it will re-enter after it moves direct in Uttara Bhadrapada, by going retrograde first there. So that's why I'm referring to the Muhurat chart, so that specifically we know that apart from all we discussed till now, what's more or what's the specific situation about this Saturn's transit in Revati. All right, let me share my screen. Okay. So the ascendant of the Muhurat chart is coming to be Virgo. Definitely, I said that we have to deal with the conflicts. We have to now, we have to now clear that what needs our attention and what does not need our attention, where we need to escape from and where we need to acknowledge our goals and responsibilities. So that's what is very visibly here with this Muhurat chart also. We have Virgo Ascendant, we have Hasta. So definitely our self-effort is needed there. Our self-evaluation is needed the most with our service, with our protection that we give to others, with the protection that we give to ourselves, and also with the conflicts, the obstacles we face or we have faced recently. Saturn goes into Revati in the 7th house, being quadrant from Jupiter, conjunct with Venus. Whenever I see quadrant Saturn, Jupiter, I know the wealth would come. Wealth in the form of money, wealth in the form of your karma completion, or wealth in the form of wisdom. But for that, you will have to sacrifice. You will have to work. You will have to come into discipline and learn the wisdom out of situations. So, what is the wisdom that is connected with this? It's about your effort, your recognition, your self-recognition, your actions towards a particular situation, and overall towards relationships, business, and for the ones who want to become self-sufficient, self-dependent, who want to become entrepreneurs. So this Saturn in Revati, for the first duration, it is actually going to affect, or the most karma is associated with the relationships and the career, and also your authority within your relationships. And also, since this is fourth from your 7th house, the happiness that you get from the relationships, you have to set everyone in the boundary. You have to stop overgiving. You have to stop overindulging. It's your time to refresh and recycle your own energy and to make it go towards what actually needs your presence. So you'll definitely be leaving whatever is unnecessary. It's like such a spiritual and karmic cleansing that we are going to have with this particular Muhurat chart, or you can say this particular Saturn's transit. Sun in the 9th house with Mercury and Moon. When this comes into Taurus in the 9th house, you establish your priorities. You start prioritizing your things, but you start prioritizing your understanding also. Since it is Moon and Mercury with Sun, it might come after a blunder or a blast of communication battle, argument, debate, but it's time to say it all. And after that, you stand for yourself, you prioritize. And this is something which is not going to happen in your personal life, but also in your professional life. That's what this is showing. Now let's start with the zodiac sign of Virgo. So for Virgo individuals, this Saturn is transiting Revati in the seventh house. That means this is your time where you put everyone into the boundary, or you put boundaries around your relationships. It's your time to show up where you need to show up as a supporter towards your spouse or your partner. It's also about your business. It's also about your work. It's actually about everyone with whom you interact, with whom you connect, not just your partner. And even your partnership, your marriage is going to see the mature side of it. And there are chances, if suppose you're not married yet, there can be strong chances of marriage. Introducing yourself to the right partner after cutting your ties with all the karmic ones, the karmic cleansing. And for the ones who are already married, this can be an opportunity for you to collaborate with your spouse and to grow with your relationships, not just financially, but in terms of your access to the society, your recognition also. But the suffering that you have had, the criticism that you have had on the part of other people, on the part of partner, now it's the time you understand the wisdom through relationships, and you structure your presence into a relationship, how much your contribution is needed into that relationship and how much is it's not. So no wasteful energy will be going there in the seventh house for you. And at the same time, you will start planning things for the future with your spouse, or if though for those who are unmarried right now, you will start planning things regarding your finances, regarding to get married and build a family, because then Saturn is trying to move towards the eighth house, the marriage life, the family that is created after marriage with the union of your spouse. All right. But definitely for Virgo individuals, their stand, their philosophical support, or them to be rigid with their opinions, to say and talk about their opinions, talk about their beliefs, that is going to be the theme. Now you are going to come to that stage where you are going to prioritize what needs and what feeds your soul and your spirituality. And that's what you will be doing. Okay. Now, next we have the zodiac sign of Libra. For Libra individuals, Saturn is in the sixth house. In the very last of the sixth house, coming to the seventh house, it talks about you settling your disputes, you settling the things happening within your workspace, coming to a point of negotiation, coming to a point of conclusion, closure with your conflicts, even with your finances. Even suppose you have certain debts, you're going to complete them, finish them, so that you can start something new now. So with Saturn's transit in Revati in the sixth house, your finances, your work life, your routine needs the attention. That needs the goal to be set. That needs your presence. So definitely a Libra individual has to now find that boundary, that in what competition, in what enmity, in what debate they have to be a part of. It's like you are being the bigger person with something that is bothering you. You're now suppressing your emotions. You're suppressing what you thought that, okay, this is what I can do. This is how can I change someone. I can change, I can settle my disputes. But you now understand that I cannot do that alone. I need the teamwork from the other side as well. And if it is not being provided to you, you are willing to leave that space. You're willing to cut the toxicity from your life. For many Libra ascendants, you will definitely be either going through examinations or going through some competitive exams. Now, how is it going to be for you? That depends how your sixth lord is placed, how your Jupiter initially is placed. But after June, after June 2, when Jupiter travels your 10th house, definitely the possibility increases for your victory over your enemies or victory over your competitive exams. But your mind has been clustered a lot. You have been into obsessive disorder for some time. But now it's time for you to settle it up, whether with the other person or but within yourself, so that it's not taking more of your energy. Because now you need to start new relationships, you need to start new things. All right. Now, next we have the zodiac sign of Scorpio. For Scorpio individuals, Saturn is transiting in Revati in the fifth house. I think the suffering has been coming from your own decision making, your romantic life, or your children. Also, through the blockage that you have been having within your decision making power, or within your investments, or within your mind, the loneliness, the feeling of nostalgia, the feeling of just leaving everything and going away, that has been there with Saturn in the fifth house. But now, since it is traveling to Revati, it's this or that. That's the decision you need to make. You're going to protect your peace now. If you are struggling with your children, you will take a step back now. And you will be like, I was trying to tell you, this shouldn't be done, this shouldn't be done. You didn't understand me. Now go. Learn the lesson by yourself. I am not going to teach you. I'm not going to tell you how. I'm done protecting you. And same is the feeling that you'll be feeling with your romantic relationship. And for some individuals, for some only, like the ones who are going through this, the Scorpio Ascendant, if there was a matter of love for you, if there was a matter of love, relationship, or maybe someone you like, you wanted to turn that into marriage and stuff like that, I think somehow here you are losing that. Now you are deciding that I'm done protecting this. I'm done trying to convince everyone. Now let it be whatever comes my way. Now let just put it to God that whomsoever is meant for me, let them come now. That's the kind of situation I'm feeling for Scorpios. But definitely this Saturn would help you transition within your career, because this has been something you are feeling since a while now. Now, this Saturn coming into Revati will make you plan that how I need to generate funds or how I need to manage so that I can move ahead and work by myself. So that's something which is going to be constant for a year from now. And all the plannings related to it, related to new work, new creation of income, or even new debt, that is going to be done here. But definitely you are now putting boundaries into the things where your expression is needed. You're not expressing at the places where your love, your protection is not appreciated. You're now protecting your peace there. That's the major thing which is visible here. And also, this Saturn would make you invest some huge amount of money into a fixed asset for this while when Saturn is in Revati, because at the same time Jupiter is also transit aspecting your second house along with Venus. So either it's some money incoming, so strong money, or strong money that is going into fixed asset or joint asset with your spouse if you're married. All right. Now, next we have the zodiac sign of Sagittarius. You have come to a situation and a position where now you no longer find interest in emotional connection with anyone. You have suffered with your own, childhood traumas lately. You have identified your inner child. You have been dealing with your inner child and the hurt that you have gathered within your childhood or within your own past. So now has you have come to a time where you're no longer overindulging into anything which requires your peace, which requires your emotions. Now you're putting boundaries around your heart, your emotions, and your peace. You're no longer emotionally protecting someone that is not appreciating your emotions, that is not appreciating your protection or what you are doing for them. I think lately with Sagittarius, with Saturn in the fourth house, it has been difficult with emotions. It has been difficult to be able to make yourself understand to others. So now you have chosen to escape that land where you're not able to express. It's like if you want to understand me, you can understand me. If you love me, if you don't, I no longer care. That's the kind of attitude I think Sagittariuses have been developing now. And especially it's towards your relationship. It's especially towards even your profession, your work, your daily life as well. Now you're protecting your peace and you start doing things for yourself. You will start planning for what makes you happy, to do what makes you happy. It also shows there can be a huge investment that you might be deciding to make to establish a home, to establish a land structure. But now you have become very practical. You have understood that my emotions need boundary because they were overflowing. Now I have to set up the boundary so that emotions that belong to me, the peace that is vital to me, that is not being affected by everyone. And it's not being affected or overflowing outside. All right. Now, next we have the zodiac sign of Capricorn. For Capricorn individual, Saturn is transiting the third house. It's in Revati. Now, for a Capricorn individual, you are, Saturn in the third house, you suppress your communication or you get the karma with your communication. And how do you get it? You express your communication or you say things and those are not appreciated, or you are given that fire back upon your own communication, and then you understand, uh, 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 that's not where I require to communicate. So you start getting things, keeping things to yourself. You were making efforts towards well-being of others. You were making efforts towards maybe your job, maybe what you were doing, any sort of effort, any sort of action that you were doing, you were making efforts towards it. But now Saturn in Revati specifically will make you learn that some places or some people do not deserve your effort. Especially for a job scenario, for a Capricorn individual. You have been getting all the criticism, you have been getting all the unnecessary judgments through your work, through your job space. And now you're like, enough is enough. I don't need to put in effort into this thing which is not giving me anything. Why not I put in effort into something which actually will give me appreciation, where I don't have to listen to everyone, where I don't have to be at a space where I am unable to communicate, and that is troubling me psychologically. Even that is the matter of your relationship with your siblings. So you are going to escape those situations and those places which are not appreciative of your effort. And especially for a Capricorn, I feel you would definitely 100% try to shift your career if you are doing job. Or there's a shift of perspective, shift of skill. Maybe you have been a salesperson since a long time. You are being, you are even a manager, a person has a very good post, you are an analyst or whatnot, right? Now you're going to follow your passion. Now you're going to follow what you love, because you're done giving your efforts and still being judged. So that's why now in Revati, Saturn will start making you dive deeper into knowledge, into research. And if you are struggling with your travels, Saturn in Revati would make you travel after it completes the formalities which are required once it gets retrograde. So it's like, for example, for the matter that they have to fulfill the responsibility towards the family and they were not able to travel. You will go through that responsibility, you will complete that karma, and then you will be eligible to go forward and travel. Or even it is about a shift of residence also. It is about moving away from the family also. All right. Now, next we have the zodiac sign of Aquarius. So for Aquarius individuals, Saturn is in the second house. Now you establish your boundaries. You establish what your duties are towards your family, towards your income, towards your finances. That's what you do with this Saturn in Revati. Saturn in the second house can make you go through difficulty with your family. It's like there were unacknowledged emotions, there were unacknowledged hurt that was given to you or that was given to anyone else. But we have that, we have this thing psychologically, wherever we are connected emotionally, sometimes we avoid communication. We all know what is happening, but no one talks about it. No one discusses it. And this particular non-communicating nature adds on itself and creates the trauma that lingers on with us over decades, generation through generation. So with this Saturn in Revati, you lose your interest into, you know, into expressing yourself towards the family, because it's like it's a blast that you're going to have all at once, and then you'll come to that mature point that I have said what I wanted to said. Now let me move towards something new, something beautiful. Let me not still be into that trauma where I was not appreciated, I was criticized. And once you do that, the dynamics of your relationship with the family changes. Even for the matter of money, you would be like that, I don't care. You want to give me money? Give me money. You don't want to give me money? Keep it to yourself. I'll do my things myself and I'll earn that money for myself. So that's the kind of attitude Saturn in Revati would establish within you in the second house. So undoubtedly, when Saturn comes into the second house, it grows the relationship between you and your family, between you and how you look into your finances, how do you manage your finances. But for you to be to that point, come to that point, you will have to go through struggles. You will have to go through rebel. You will have to go through retaliations. So this time particularly makes me understand that there are also certain investments that you're most likely to make. You have been trying to do that, especially in regards of your office, your home, or any sort of structure. Right? So that's what is basically, that's your plan. That's what you're trying to form and moving towards. But so as to identify that that's the direction I need to go to, you need to go through the difficulty through your family. All right. Now, next we have the zodiac sign. But Saturn in the second in Revati, although Saturn in the second itself, it grows your finances. It makes you struggle for it, but it grows it. And that's what it is going to do now. Now, Pisces. For Pisces individual, Saturn is in the first house. You're losing interest into proving yourself, because that's what you have been doing lately. You're losing your interest into proving yourself and letting people know what's your worth. Now it's the time you be in your power. You have gone through judgments, you have gone through criticism coming from others. You're done projecting yourself. You're done letting people know this is not my intention, this is my intention. You're done with, all that. Now it's the time you support yourself. Now it's the time you focus your energy into what is the priority towards your future security. With Saturn in Revati in the first house, something within your personality, the nurturing self that you had, the protecting self that you had, and that you did for your own self also. You're breaking your ties with it. Now you are like, I don't need to protect myself. I just need to protect my peace. And that's what I'm going to do. Some part of your identity has died now, so that another part of your entity, of your identity, takes birth. So the greatest transition is happening for the Pisces individuals, whether moon or whether ascendant. The wisdom, the emotional settlement, that is where you are coming now. You are done with your fears. You have passed them now. So it's time to move forward. It's time that you establish those boundaries around yourself and not let anyone enter it just like that. That the restriction you're creating for yourself and towards yourself as well, if anyone else wants to approach you. All right. Now, Aries. Aries individual, Saturn in the 12th house. So it's like you're giving up on some of the responsibilities or some of the expenses. Maybe you're completing your debt. You're giving that money. So your obligation is now done, completed. Or have been certain responsibilities you have been doing and showing up to, but now you need to set a boundary there. There were certain travels or certain things related to your visa application, your settlement that was not getting completed. Now it'll move. But once the formalities that were required that are done, and even it shows that why are you basically getting, settling your responsibilities, settling your expenses, because maybe you are trying to buy a new home at a distance from your homeland. Maybe you are trying to do something in regards or towards the establishment of your skills. You wish to start maybe your own office. You want to switch from job to something else, or you're shifting from one position in your job to another position. So the responsibility is changing, whether it's changing professionally or it is changing personally. The focuses are shifting. This also somehow shows me there can be birth of a child for a Aries ascendant or Aries moon individual, or there's an addition within your home. But things are moving. The perspective is moving, shifting actually. So it's a restart that is going to happen of yourself, your personality. Because 12th house is your subconscious. 12th house is your thoughts. All right? And the Lord is going into the third. That's your understanding. So either you're putting a boundary upon this is what I think, this is what I want to do, full stop. No arguments, nothing. I have said what I wanted to say, what I wanted to do. Or you're shifting your focus so that you can be in a better situation. So, anyhow, it's basically affecting your subconscious. It's affecting your thoughts, your understanding. All right. Next, we have Taurus. For Taurus individuals, Saturn is in the 11th house. The gain, the recognition that you expected, that you were expecting. Now it's the time to come to the world of responsibility. Now it's no longer about just thinking about your desires, just thinking about yourself. It's the time you complete your responsibilities towards people in general, towards your circle, towards your societal obligations, not just the society that we live in, but everyone who is around you. You're going to restrict your friend circle. You are going to stop over giving or over helping the areas of your social circle where you weren't welcomed, where you weren't appreciated. Now it's the time you gain your power back. You think about yourself and you think about your responsibilities or what you want to accomplish and you want to complete as a part of your responsibilities. Your expenses will rise from now onwards. There are places you need to show up, and there are places you need to exit. In fact, for a Taurus individual, possibility of marriage is also very strongly there. Possibility of addition into the family is also there. So birth of children could even be there. Or it is that you improvise your money matters, and once that happens you will start feeling that, like for example, you have been obsessing over a promotion lately. You were like, I want this, I want this, I want this, and now it happened, and now you're like, oh, I was being obsessive over it. And same could be the matter in regards of relationships. You were being so obsessive about, you want a relationship, I want to get my desire partner. Now you will. And once you do, you'll be like, okay, I wanted a partner, but now do I have to deal with the responsibility part of the family life or the marriage life? Oops. So that's the kind of situation which is going to happen for Tauruses. Now, Gemini. For Gemini individuals, Saturn in the 10th house. You have done so much of work. You have done everything in your power to establish a very solid foundation of your career. Now, with Saturn in Revati in the 10th house, you put a boundary on what you are going to do now. You were first at a stage, like, when you are very new into some profession, into some work, you have to be the all-rounder. You have to be the salesperson, the marketing person, you have to be the budgeter, you have to be the accountant yourself, you have to be the face of your brand yourself. But then comes a time when you have managed all of it, you have come to a situation or at a position, now you will reap the fruits, or now you will be able to command others. Now it's not just your obligation. That's what will now be happening for Geminis. You have been doing for your profession, for your work, for you have digested every criticism, every judgment you have gotten from your bosses and from everyone, every person of authority, even within your family. Now you are like, now the boundaries are straight. I'm not going to welcome any judgment that comes towards me. Now it's the time for me to get recognized because I have done enough. If you don't recognize me, I will make you recognize me. So that can even give birth to the verbal battles, the verbal blasts. When you are doing things and finally you come to a situation where you just burst up and you are like, I'm tired of doing things, but no one is appreciating what I'm doing. Still, I'm hearing that you are doing this bad, you are doing that, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. So now you are like, I'm going to cut everyone out of communication if this is how you continue to give me peace. And that makes you stronger, that makes you grow with your personality more. And also, since it's the 10th house, if certain planets are there, this could be also a legal issue. This could even be an issue with any authority. If suppose sun is there, it could be with an authoritative person. It could be with the government, with the head of your family, anyone. All right. And also, you're going to escape the places which are not contributing to your growth. Now, next, Cancer. For Cancer individuals, Saturn is in the 9th house. Enough of just sitting, thinking, affecting yourself. Now it's the time to act upon. Act upon what you believe in. The biggest wisdom is what Cancerians are getting right now. And I think that's what is needed. That's definitely what is needed. Saturn in the 9th house, you were also at the places where you did not do something which was required to be done. Now you understood that karma I was not able to do, but I should have done. And that made you form your own beliefs. That made you form your own wisdom. And now it's like that now your fortune is rising. Now, towards the very end, Saturn has given you all the karma, all the bad things, all the sufferings. And now at the end, it will give you the Bhagyodaya. Because both of them, the 9th house and the sign of Pisces in the 9th house, both of them are the luck symbols. And Saturn made you suffer with your luck for a longer time. But now it has to give you the bhagya because now you have understood where, what, and why. And you have understood so much that you can write a thesis on that. You can be a philosopher after this. You can write a book on yourself, on your story. So now Saturn in the 9th house in Revati, it is moving into action. It is giving you the bhagya. Now it's the time for you to be recognized. For some time, you did become a person or you went into a situation where you felt powerless. But now you are regaining your power. Your travels got delayed. See, travels are not just the travels we make to a different city, different country. It's also the things we wish to move. Things were not moving. There was frustration there. But now things will be moving. And at the same time, there will be a lot of expenditure. For many of the Cancerians, they can move away from the family and there will be a lot of expenditure. They would move away from where they are currently. So shift of residence could also happen. Maybe you're moving to your own home. Maybe you are moving to your own space. So I see a lot of expenditure. I see movement, and I see your bhagya rising as well. All right. Now, next we have the zodiac sign of Leo. For Leos, Saturn is in the eighth house in Revati. You have gotten the wisdom of your life. Now it's the time for you to move on your spiritual journey and get the lessons of the wisdom. Till now, you had to deal with things which were deep rooted, which were deeply hidden. Also, for the ones who are married, it's the time you set a boundary towards your in-laws, towards your connection with your in-laws also. Because you have been facing and you have faced troubles with them, and now you're setting your priorities so as to now I cannot protect you and I need to protect my peace and myself. So Saturn in Revati in the eighth house definitely will make you go onto the path of spirituality. Definitely, it's a strong spiritual awakening, spiritual transition. And you'll see how things are going to start working for you slowly now. Everything that was stuck, everything that was not working, that is now going to start working for you. Okay? And apart from this, you know, I think there's a lot of changes in your surroundings also that you are going to have. It can even be relocation. But there are changes that you're going to have within your finances, within how your life has been till now, and now onwards, it is going to be different. Some long pending travels are going to be fulfilled now for you. All right. So, guys, this was my analysis regarding Saturn in the nakshatra of Revati. I hope this helps and gives you good insights into this topic. We'll see you with the next video. Bye bye. Take care.